Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome to another edition of Kingly Conversations, back for season 4. This week, we got a continuation from last week, so you already know it's a hot one. But before we get into all of that, you know Zoe's got some shout-outs.
Hey, yo, what up? It's your boy. You know what time it is. Hey, shout out to everybody out there that's listening. We love you. We see you. We appreciate you. Hey, how about just giving us some feedback? Just go to any of the social platforms that we're on, and you can just get in contact with us. Let's have a conversation, man. That's what it's all about.
Fantastic. So this week, we are getting back into it about becoming the best you. So strap in. Let the Kings talk about it. All right, good people. Hey, welcome back, man, for another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And as I am every single week, you should know by now, I'm Alan.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Twine. Twine. Ask me about my podcast, man. You know what time it is. Bam, 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 bam.
It's your friend, your mentor, Calvin D. Hill.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back. This is part 2 of Becoming the Best You. And where we left off last time, we was getting into a conversation about entrepreneurship and being mentored at a young age. Calvin, you had a thought about that as far as the environment?
Yeah.
As far as being around people in that environment?
No, that was about Alan's being instilled or soaking into personal development at an early age. And that was more or less because his parents, father, set an environment. He didn't intentionally do it. It was on accident. So seemingly. Right. It was an environment set around him to where he had no choice but to absorb this kind of information. That's where I really believe a lot of parents need to take more time into, not so much as in trying to instill something in a child, but if you want to see a certain product, create the environment where that has to grow.
That makes sense.
And that makes sense because in the case of my dad, it was because he wanted better. And they told him, well, these are the things you need to do. And I was just along for the ride, so to speak, So, because my parents, to their credit, they pretty much took me everywhere they went. We didn't do a lot of, babysitter type things because there were no other children around either. So if they were going to a function, I was there, and if they were going here, I was there. If they were going to a cookout, I was there. So I, at a young age, learned how to carry myself around adults.
Got it.
I was forced that one.
You know what?
That was forced on me.
Got it. So I'm going to share some information with you because I'm feeding off of what y'all tell me and what you're sharing with me, and I love it. At a young age, my immediate circle was the ones that were not really encouraging. So with that negative energy I was getting as far as being told what you're not going to be, being told you're always wrong, X, Y, Z, I had to go, like I think somebody just said, outside the circle to get positive encouragement as far as showing me or telling me, hey, you have great things in your life. Right. Just keep pushing. Just keep pushing because they saw something in my character that I didn't see because of my tainted views of myself given to me by my immediate family. So I did say that earlier in the part 1 that I was always told that I wasn't going to be nothing, and all the negative stuff that you can imagine you could say to a person, I probably heard it at a young age. However.com, I would like to take the time now to thank those outside of that circle that did encourage me. Michael Anderson, when I was singing for the youth choir, he was taking us out there and showing us different things. In my youth.
Oh, you were singing?
Yeah, man, I was singing.
Oh, I know.
Monza can sing.
I know.
Monza can sing.
He had that solo with the Al-Assad Gospel Choir.
Oh, no. You know what? My career ended immediately.
Wow.
He did.
Yeah,
I think I might have it on tape.
We was out there. And we was in Iraq singing too. In the
I
choir.
ain't sing.
No,
We know
I
you
ain't no
didn't sing.
singer.
You was down there with the deacons and the pastors tapping your foot.
I ain't no singer.
I ain't no singer. Yeah, so shout out to
Look,
people.
some of us shouldn't have been singers either.
Yeah, he ain't lying.
but we
was
were.
just blended in the crowd. Just the volume was slightly lower
We were
than
making
everybody
a
else.
joyful noise.
That's what it was. All that rhetoric. Hey, shout out to everybody in the Iraq gospel
Speaking of
choir,
Iraq, we
man.
off subject, but I saw Paul do. He was in Iraq with us. I saw him at Walmart the other day. He doing good.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to everybody, man. I appreciate y'all, especially my fellow Marine
Paul from our unit?
Corps brothers
Oh,
and
okay.
sisters out there.
D-Paul.
D-Paul.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all that to say, hey, thank you for all the people who did encourage me, and I'm still here. I'm still standing.
So knowing your self-worth, this was big for me, and this was after a tragedy.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't identify or didn't recognize my self-worth as far as a professional career until after I was fired.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Me too.
Was that a couple years ago, a few years
Yeah, it
ago?
was a few years ago. I got fired
Yeah.
from a job. It was a wrongful termination.
Okay.
They were dead wrong for doing what they did to me.
You want to get something off your chest?
No.
It sounds like you just did. All right, go. Where were you going?
But I had settled for the amount of money I was working at a job for. And I thought at the time this was all I was worth.
Right.
This amount of money. But then after that incident happened, something in my mind changed. Like, okay, no, I'm worth way more than this, and I'm not going to die on this earth only making this much money. And I know I can do more.
Right.
So after that, I went through those months of unemployment and deliberation of getting my job back and all that stuff. I found my self-worth.
That's good.
And I went from basically a $10 pay raise because something in my mind changed. And I really believe a lot of people settle for what we make or get in life because, like you said, that's what we think we're worth. Nah, not anymore. I think I'm worth a lot more.
Good.
And I really believe I'm about to come into something. So
I am.
I am. I have not shaken. I've been telling my wife since 2019. I got this strange feeling, like
Yeah.
I'm. It's bigger than what I imagined. That's what I'm scared of. It's like that's crazy, but it's coming.
I like it.
So stand by, get your guts together, do what you got to do, become whoever you need to be.
Yeah.
Because whether you like it or not, this is coming to you.
Right.
So get ready for it.
I like
That's
it.
where I'm at. That's
I like
where
it.
I'm at.
Knowing your worth.
Yeah.
Knowing your worth.
Yeah.
I will say that in regards to knowing my worth, just recently within the last 5 years, I actually started realizing what my worth was. And in doing so, I cut some things off because I felt as if it was driving my value down.
Yeah,
As far as
man.
self-worth.
But don't that feel good? I'm sorry.
It does feel
Don't it
good.
feel good to cut some folk off that's dragging you down?
Yes,
I'm sorry, man.
it does. And it's all about, even with the self-worth, man, and knowing that you have to separate yourself from certain situations or certain people, there is a peace of mind that comes upon you that is beyond explaining.
Talk about
I can't really explain it,
about it.
but it feels like physically when you're around people and they're draining and they're just draining. I'll just say that when you take the time to realize your self-worth and separate yourself because you feel as if that's the next move for you to make, it feels like that weight has been, it feels like you're floating.
A what?
Weight.
A weight?
A weight.
Weight?
A burden.
Burden?
Whatever you want to say.
Huh?
Yes. All of that. It just feels like you're
It
floating.
do.
So getting back to the self-worth, once you realize your self-worth, you will limit your time and effort and resources to make sure that your self-worth is not devalued. That's just my personal experience. I'm not trying to cut nobody down. I'm not trying to be negative. However.com, I am very adamant about keeping my peace of mind. I am very adamant about making sure my self-worth does not decrease. And by doing so, if you or a situation is trying to, not even consciously trying to, maybe some people just are subconsciously, they want to take and take and take and take. They have expectations. They feel entitled. And I say to myself, when it comes to a certain situation where we're bumping heads, I will not allow that to decrease my self-value, my sense of self-worth, because I don't want to bring myself to a mental state to where I feel I have to retaliate. That's the old me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So self-worth for me is very important. I realize it's within the last 5 years, and it's a great feeling, and it allows me to get the energy to keep on pushing forward to the next level. That's all I want to say. Alan.
You ain't got a chicken sound effect in there, do you? Do you need help?
Well, can we ask him, because did you have anything about the self-worth as far as knowing your worth?
No.
Okay.
Which seems weird for me, but no, not really. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, for you are going to, like in my case, there are, so you feel like you're worth certain things, but you got to go to work to prove that. That's how I look at, like, if you feel like you're worth these things, like, okay, you feel like you're worth more. Okay, go to work to
do more.
Be the person that will attract it so that it happens.
Yeah, and that's the key of it. Is, okay, you're worth this, but as you believe it in your mind, you will start behaving and doing the things that will draw you to that.
That reminds me of a cliche mindset to where, I'm sorry, Calvin, I'm going to do this, so and I just want you to be prepared for what I'm about to say.
Go ahead.
Most Christians have the mentality that if I pray, it's going to happen. I don't need to do nothing.
True. No.
Even though it says prayer without works is what?
Dead.
Okay, so I'm going to need you to get up and do something, boo-boo.
But that ain't the way it works.
I know it ain't the way it works, but I'm just saying most have that mentality now.
As a man thinketh, so is he.
Wait, whoa. So I'm, no.
As a man think.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so you telling me,
Yes.
all right, may I,
Go
okay.
ahead.
As an example of what you just said, my name is
There you go.
XYZ, okay? I am a great person. I think that I'm a great
There
person.
you go.
But I have no actions to show you that
Do you
reflect on
really
what
believe
I feel.
that? But see, this is the thing, because
Therein lies the
as you think,
Thank you.
you will be. That means the way you think, what ultimately your behavior will follow. So whatever's coming out, I can't hear what you're saying because I see what you're doing.
You know what?
Thank you. Okay.
Exactly.
I can't hear you because I see you.
We used
Got
to
it.
say
I like
it
it.
this way,
I like it.
that your philosophy controls your thoughts. Your thoughts control your actions. Your actions control your habits. And those habits determine your lifestyle.
Whoa, where did you get that from?
That's
What is
right.
that?
Yeah.
Is that Jim Rohn? What is that?
I don't even remember. It's somebody.
I'm look that up. I like that.
But
But that's the truth.
and that is the truth. So if your philosophy is that I'm worthy of these things, then that'll drive your thoughts, which will drive your activity, which will create the habits, which will then create the lifestyle.
So if the lifestyle and the activity don't line up with what you're saying, I already know what you're thinking.
Even now,
You're lying to yourself. Don't worry about it.
essentially, unfortunately. So because you are somewhere, your philosophies don't match.
Okay.
Because there's also what I was reading a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And one of the things that it said in the book was that if you have a negative view of wealthy people, you can never become wealthy.
You'll never become wealthy.
Because no matter what you think otherwise, if that is your dominating thought about wealthy people, you will always self-sabotage and you won't even realize you're doing it. But it's because you have this negative connotation on wealthy people.
Most people do that, don't even realize it.
They don't. And it's not to say that everybody's seeking, because wealth is going to be different
in everybody's perspective. Yeah.
So, but that's what it is. So it's those, when I say philosophies, it's those philosophies.
Right.
The ones that you might not even realize you believe that are also going to drive that bus, that really are going to do more bus driving than your conscious thought. It's those unconscious thoughts that are going to do all that driving.
Got it. Well, I'm glad that you brought up that book, because it's actually one of the books I'm reading now, and I'm getting through it and taking my notes. So in regards of
I got so many
reading,
pencil marks in that book.
So as far as reading, as far as becoming the best you, I see that you have a notation that says you will need help. What do you mean by that?
You wouldn't. I mean, because if you're trying to become the best you, at some stage you are going to get to the limits of what you know,
right?
The limits of what your experience. So, like for people that, and I can use this because maybe people can relate to it more so than maybe entrepreneurship. But like if you're an athlete and you're in the gym, or you're going to get to a point where this is as far as my knowledge, education, and experience can take me in this endeavor. And I've got to find somebody that has something new to teach, something new to share, an experience I don't have to take me from this level to the next. And then once I'm at that level, I might then need someone else that's not them to go to the next level if I want to keep advancing. Now, if I'm at a point where I'm like, hey, you know what, right here is cool. I got the physique I'm looking for. I got the health that I'm looking for. Great, fantastic. But at every level, you're going to get to a point where it's like, this is as far as I can go without trying to find somebody who is better than me in this area to get some coaching, some guidance, some mentorship from. And that could be paid. It generally is going to be paid, whether that's a book or a class or direct mentorship. Is generally going to be paid information of some kind, because we only grow through the introduction of new information.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's there. So you're going to need help from someone somewhere.
I can definitely testify, because in my journey of trying to become the best me, there's been a lot of books that I've read. There's been a lot of classes and courses that I'm taking and have taken. As far as mentors, I really don't have a mentor, like a specific one or an individual one. I just kind of, in my environment and the people that I'm around, most of them, it's not really my circle.
That mentor thing is my go-to.
That's your go-to?
That is it.
And here's the thing, you may not, but that's why I also put that there, that you don't necessarily have to know them for them to be a mentor. There is an overabundance of information because of the current times that we live in. 100 years ago, you might have really had to go and seek them out.
Yeah.
Today,
with YouTube,
they got YouTube. They might have a class you can purchase. So all of these things are now available for the people that are looking for them. But it's not like it's not going to automatically show up in an algorithm. Like you really would have to go looking to find it. Because I would even say, if somebody wanted to have like a real estate mentor, don't start with the billionaire. Start with the person that might be local to your town that says, okay, this is how we got started. Now, we got started a couple years ago. Now we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 properties. Because that's like, but a lot of people, what they end up doing is they say, I'm at 0. Let me find the guy that made $1 billion in real estate. Like, you're not there yet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go and ask Eddie Hall, who is one of the world's strongest men, to train me in powerlifting. I'm not there yet.
So what's a light day for you in squats?
400.
I kind of share a somewhat contrary view to that, because I feel like if that's who you want to be, that's who you should let mentor. to me, if you can't, like you said, if you can't get to somebody like that, start where you can start.
Right.
Which
Always at whatever level you can get to, get to that. But if you have access to the pinnacle of what you're trying to do, get there. Sit there and take notes. Because don't settle for nothing less. But like I said, that mentor thing is big for me because it's three that I know I eat lunch with, as I like to call it. Right. I eat lunch with. That means I sit in my car, watch them on YouTube, and we eat lunch. Right.
So basically, you're saying you don't have to know the mentor for them to be a mentor. Yeah. Got it.
And here's the only reason why. And when I say like paid mentorship, this is the reason why I say you might not want, because I know of a person right now that it's $15,000 to start.
To start what?
For them to deal with
mentor.
To deal with $15,000. But it's people like that.
And if you have it, if you're already there, great.
Respect
but maybe you need the $1,000 mentor today. Now you can definitely watch their YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But I'm talking. But in terms of paid more, if you ain't got $15,000 and then another $200,000 or $300,000 to actually invest in what they're telling you, you may not be able to use the information.
They increase their worth.
But it's some principles. But there are some unexplainable principles when you invest your money into something like that or into a person like that. For example, when you have access to a book,
right,
and you read it, you just borrow somebody's book and read, but it's a difference when you go invest and buy the book.
Right.
You know what? Somebody told me that a long time ago.
It's a difference.
I know.
Shout out to Fred.
Shout out to Fred
E. Hill.
That's a difference.
Because I was having a conversation with him, and of course he has this elaborate library, and I'm looking at the books, and I'm like, oh man, that's a good book. I should get that. Can I use it? He was like,
go back.
If you really wanted to read it, and if you really wanted to get the understanding, you would go out and get it. I've never, maybe a few times I've asked somebody to borrow a book, or if they were giving a book away, I'll take it. But if I wanted to know something and understand something, I would go and get it myself. Shout out to Freddie Hill, man.
Absolutely. He said the same thing to me. He said a leader would go buy it.
Right. Something to that extent, yeah.
I said, okay. I'll never forget it.
Now, that is the...
I never forget it.
That's why we had the problems we had, because that's all I understood, and I never saw another role. I explained that to him over time.
Compassion?
It's people, that too. But people say I have a problem with leadership. It's not that I have a problem with leadership. It's my expectation of leadership.
Oh, because your dad is the example of what you see leadership as? That's what you're saying?
Yeah. So I don't have a reference point to the follower.
Yeah.
I have a reference point to leader.
Yeah.
So my expectation is you're the leader. You want me to follow you, you're the leader. So I'm looking for the lead. Right. I'm looking for that lead. You're not leading. That means I have to do it.
Step away, sir.
Bro, step back.
Hey, back away from the responsibility. Right, I'll take over because you're not doing it.
Because you won't do it. I don't have a problem with it. I quite frankly enjoy it.
So I'm comfortable in that.
I'm comfortable with it. I like those kind of problems.
It fits me well, sir.
Yes, it does.
It's tailored.
In the case
That's
of
my problem.
In the case of mentors, right? Find somebody. And find somebody that resonates with your internal voice. Is also
that's a big one. No, say that again, because people don't explain that one. I say it that way. Explain that in a little detail.
So, and here's the thing: at some point in time, even with that, there are going to be people that may have good information, but you can't stand anything at all about them. And you may not value that information to the level that you should. That's why I say you need to find people where they're speaking your language, right? So when I got started in one of the businesses that I'm in, there were 3 people that were training at the same time. And only one of them, I thought, could I really get behind? It's like, okay, I could see. It's kind of like having a teacher that teaches in the way that you need to hear it. Mm-hmm. So when I was in college, I failed calculus twice and passed it once. Now, sure, it's calculus. Yeah, I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for me failing twice, right? But the third teacher, he taught it in a way that I could get it. I could understand it. And that's what you always want to look for in mentors and in teachers, because if they're teaching you in a way that you can't receive the information, then you just pay for information that you're never going to use.
I hate to do this, but I have to. So for the listeners, pay attention to your children in school, because that principle applies. Some of the teachers aren't compatible with your child's learning style.
Oh, yeah, we get that every day.
No, but parents don't take the time to identify that teacher does not fit with
Instead
my
of just putting it
child.
on the child.
Right, and they just think the child isn't
Man, shout out
learning.
to
No.
Ashley.
Well, but you know why? You know why part of that
I hate
is?
to throw that out there.
Part of that, I think,
Why?
is because
It's true.
they don't know how to identify with. They don't understand that every voice is not for every person,
Right.
and so they're just thinking you should be able to learn from this person. And it may now the problem in school, a lot of times you can't always switch professors or teachers,
Right.
So you may have to assist.
but
in
You
that.
can, but you have to go through the proper channels of doing
Right,
so.
right.
Like, for example, there are a few teachers that our children, like you said, is just not getting it. It's a clash there. So now the grades are affected because of that. So now we have to go talk to the principal. We have to go talk to the teacher. Now we have to figure out a way to resolve this. So in doing so, we need another teacher because this is not working. We get another teacher, and now the grades are immaculate.
Right. All right, so we digress.
Yeah, we do.
Thank
you, Calvin.
But with all that, it is going to take, becoming the best you is going to take consistent effort, meaning that day by day I'll call it 1% better every day, right? So whatever it is that whether that's 1% better in your relationships, 1% better. When I talk about relationships in that regard, I'm talking like friendships, 1% better in your marriage if you are married, or a relationship with a significant other, 1% better in your businesses, 1% better on your finances, 1% better in your physical health, 1% better in your spiritual health.
I like it.
The entire person,
1%
better, and that's, I just feel like that takes effort, that takes intention. More so than just effort. It takes intention. It says, I'm going to move in this direction, and I'm going to find tools that help me to do so.
Consistency is definitely a major part of it. That's my testament. That's all I got for that. That's all I got for it. Now, I like this next one. I see the word aggression. What is this?
So with the consistent effort, it's going to take some level of aggression on your part, because
He's so toxic.
Nobody, there's going to be zero people on this planet more concerned about becoming the best you than you.
That's
and
right.
You've got to be aggressive about that. Now, that doesn't mean aggressive to the point where you are beating other people down, demeaning others. It just means when you wake up in the morning, you put your feet on the ground like you got a mission and you got something to do.
All I heard in my mind when he said that was C.T. Fletcher saying, grow.
I command you to grow.
I command
that's
you.
But that's exactly the attitude. That's exactly but it's that attitude.
Grow.
It is that attitude about everything.
Hey, man, keep that same energy,
It's
man.
that attitude about the way you go to the gym. It's that attitude about the way you do the things you do at work. It's that attitude about the way you treat the people you care about.
Yes.
Aggressive betterment.
Yes. You ain't got no time to be lazy out here trying to get better. Get to it.
Hey, I command me to be better every single day.
Yes, Lord.
Doesn't mean it doesn't mean you're going to hit the mark every single time.
At least you
but
put
that's
your
the goal.
full effort into it.
Right.
You have to put full effort into it. You can't go into it half-heartedly, because you're going to get half-hearted results. You're going to get results that you don't like, and that's not going to help in regards to being consistent.
Right.
Because you're going to get deterred. You're going to feel a certain type of way about it. It's like, well, I tried it. Well, no, you didn't.
I
didn't. I should say. I'm sorry.
And I would tell people, when you're on the journey, don't get discouraged. Continue doing what you know you need to do, despite how it may look on the outside. And the reason I say that is I'm going back to working out, because I feel like it's an easy thing for people to understand. So we've been in the gym at this point probably 5 years. Would you say 5, 6?
And will. Yes.
And will. And do.
And do. Yeah.
But so at one point in time on this journey, I was able to deadlift 405, 415, no problem.
Yep.
can't do that right now. Whether it's tendons, joints, ligaments, whatever it is, that's not happening. I used to be able to squat 405, 410, 415. Can't do that no more right now. But but guess what? I'm still in there, and I'm gonna give it whatever is the best that I got that day. And some days are trash, and I'm still gonna give it the best I got that day.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say, aggressive about your growth. It's like, no, I'm regardless of what's going on, I'm still gonna give these things whatever is the best that I have to give it on that day, or why am I doing it?
Yep. I like it. All right, well, what else we got, man? Because
we got one last thing left.
Oh, Lord. What we got left, man? It says growth doesn't happen by accident, but sometimes it might.
What? This is why I had to change it. I did put growth. I put growth. Growth doesn't happen by accident, but sometimes it might. The reason I changed it to sometimes it might is so, like in the case of it was because we were talking about the environment and that you created. So that growth happened to me, not by anybody's design. Well, not by any human's design, right? So that growth happened because someone else was seeking the knowledge and information, and I was just the beneficiary of that information that they were trying to get for themselves, right? So that's why I say sometimes it might, because maybe you overhear a conversation that wasn't meant for you, but it was some information you like, man, or maybe you are working at a hotel or a convention center where they're having a seminar, and just because you were in the room, you got the information that you didn't even pay for, that you weren't even necessarily trying to receive, but you got it anyway. And now things are going to be different because now you're thinking different. Now everything is starting to manifest itself differently because you got information that you weren't even trying to get. So that's why I say sometimes it might happen by accident, but I'm not a person that believes anything is accidental, that everything ultimately is conspiring to do you good, even if it's a bad thing. That there's something that we can take from it. There's something that we can glean from it to then empower somebody else. Because I don't believe any of the lessons that I've received are for me and me alone. I believe that like Roy Tatum always used to say, a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And I've always just felt that to me, that is the human experience, that whatever blessings I've received, I was blessed to be a blessing. And that's just how I look at life in general, that I was blessed to be a blessing to somebody else.
I didn't get that before until I had conversations with my sister, Ito, Ashley, that because when I tell them some of the stories and as far as what I've been through, they're like, yo, you can help somebody with that information. Right. So I do. I thought about that. No joke. I really thought about that.
These days you can use Chat GPT to write a book. You ain't got to write yourself. Yeah. But yeah, you should. I mean, now, depending on how you want to write it, the way I like
raw.
No, I'm saying like,
what?
You could just do a voice note and then have somebody else actually put the pen to paper, or you can sit down and type it all yourself. It's up to you.
Oh, interesting. Which way did you do it, Calvin?
I sat there and wrote it.
You wrote it?
Well, I was on deck, but I wish I had that kind of time again, so I had time alone to think, because I wanted to start on my next one.
I recorded everything into a voice note, and then I'm getting it to somebody to actually
put it to paper. Yeah, I like it. So I will definitely look into that, man. Me and Ashley also talk about collaborating in the book as well, as far as relationships.
Do it, man.
So
do it. I would tell anybody to do it. If you want to really try to sell it, put a team together, but do it. No matter what, at least get the manuscript down. That way it's available.
Yeah.
Right.
And then put the rest of your editor team and the marketing team and all the other stuff together.
Easy peasy.
I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again.
All right. Cause you gonna need it.
Cue the music, DJ. Cue the music.
Yes, sir.
All right.
There we go. Calvin, what you got?
Great, man. Great conversation for everybody, man. I appreciate y'all input and appreciate y'all sharing. Thank y'all for listening. What you got, Calvin?
I got nothing.
What?
No, because people are going to be the best version of you.
Yeah, just
do the best you can do. Keep growing.
That's really it. I mean,
more than likely, if you listen to this, you're one of the few people that are trying to do better. become better. So.
More than likely.
Just like how this conversation started, it started by me reflecting on where I was, where I am, and where I want to be. So in that regards, becoming the best you, like Alan said, it takes consistency. Like Calvin said, it takes you taking a look in your past and just evaluating that and erasing some of the things that weren't conducive to you. And just be you, man, and be great.
Do the work.
Yeah, do the work. That's all I got, man. What you got, Alan?
I mean, hey, listen, at the end of the day, I get that, when we talk about these things, I realize that we're probably talking to one person. That's actually, because everybody else will be planting seeds. Some people we're going to be watering those seeds that have been planted. For one person, maybe some of those seeds may germinate and they'll go, and then this podcast will be a part of their story of how they got to where they are.
That would be
today.
dope, man. If just one person, that would be dope.
That's it. But I learned that a long time ago, that even whether you're in a pulpit or whether you're at an event, that generally speaking, you're talking to the one person in the audience that's ready.
I say I'm here talking to everybody, but it ain't for some. It's only for somebody.
We're gonna throw all the shoes out there on the floor,
That boy,
but it ain't gonna fit everybody.
All right, man. Let's get out of
So
here.
with that said, we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.